Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show. Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of RAERAEs Review. And this is about Reasonable Doubt on Hulu. Yes, who knew this show would be so good? I've heard so many people discussing it and rave reviews. I think I saw an article saying that season 3 is greenlit. Oh, don't quote me again. Allegedly speaking, of course. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so, because this show is so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, child, Jack Stewart is on the case. Corey, what's his name? Corey Cash is on the case. D.A. Lucy is trying to catch a case. Child, there's something going on with D.A. Lucy. We're about to be introduced to something going on with her, child, because like I said before, she was somebody was prank calling her or something like that. Oh, now she just walking around nervous and carrying on. I wonder what's going on with her. Well, let's find out if it's something going on. So we start off with Jax, right? She was dreaming about Shannelle lying to her. And, it's just something about this case that Jax does not sit well with Jax. She was wondering, why is D.A. Lucy going so hard on Shannelle when it's obvious that she was, a battered wife and it was self-defense, but something just don't add up. But we're going to find out, child. So now we got Lewis worrying about Tony being pregnant because, she was his jump off once he saw Jax with Damon. That's what you get when you're cheating. You start worrying about things. So next we see Jax going to Shannelle, visits her in what's that called? Fox Hills Detention Center. I always laugh at that. And just asked her about Evan. And Shannelle was like, that's JT's business manager, who, you ain't got nothing to worry about with him. And then Jax says she doesn't believe Shannelle took JT off the set. And Shannelle was like, so now you don't believe me? Do you believe the men that you defend? Oh, wait, that's right. You hardly ever do, because you're you. So now Shannelle is offended, child, that Jax don't believe. I mean, she's like, why would I be going through all of this if I didn't, take my husband off the set? Child. Shannelle is just a little perturbed about that. But like I said, those dreams Shannelle keeps having about her taking him off the set, it just don't add. It changes. So something ain't right. Like I said, the last episode, when she was dreaming about him choking her out, somebody hit him over the head while he was choking her. So I think Jax is on to something. So next we got Lewis telling his brother that, Tony's pregnant. The brother was like, man, what's wrong with you heterosexuals? Y'all can't use condoms? I mean, that's not what we do in my community. He's trying to rag on him, but Lewis is like, listen, I got time for that. I'm trying to get some, I'm just trying to get some support. So the brother Terrence was like, man, listen, what you need to do is remove her name out of your phone, label it somebody else, and just wait for her to call you back. Don't press the issue, and just, wait and just, give it some time, and I'm sure it'll work out. Child, Lewis is sweating bullets. But anyway, that's what you got to deal with when you cheating out there cheating. Stop cheating. Anyway, so Jax believes Adrian took JT off the set. Corey is sticking to the charges because Corey has this other case that's depending upon what Shannelle got going on, and he hasn't told her yet. So, he has his own little, thing going. He's really trying to work this case. Now, he's not throwing the case, of course. He's trying to get Shannelle out because he wants to get his other client out. Woo, child. Let me tell you this. Corey is not appreciating how Jax is handling all of this, and he's wanting her to really follow his lead. But, she's second chair. That's her homegirl. She's just really emotionally involved, which is why she called him in the first place. So then Corey talks about the trailer, about the interview is out. It's going viral. It's looking good. So we got a good chance. That's great. Next, we see Adrian visits Evan, the one that slapped him in the face, slapped him in the mouth. Last episode about the third. Now we know the 30 million is confirmed. And so Evan wants his money. Adrian's like, listen, I don't know if I can get you all of it right now. We may have to wait until Shannelle gets out. She got some good attorneys. And Evan's like, I don't have that long. So then Evan says he got something on Adrian. Adrian said he got something on him. So they, measuring D sizes and everything. So they just both, kind of going back and forth, but we're going to find out. Next, we see Jackson Lewis talking about the case and Tony being a witness about everything. And he was like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, because she was, involved, and we need to find out what's really going on with that. And then that's when Tony calls under a different name. So then he answers it all nervous, talking about it's from work. And Jack's like, oh, okay. She over there making another drink or whatever. They're waiting for the interview to come on of Shannelle in prison. And he pretty much, lets her know we'll talk tomorrow. She was like, oh, she must be right there with you, huh? Yeah, that's his wife, Heifer. That's about these jump offs. Where was I? Made me mad. Anyway, next we're seeing them strategizing. Corey has a focus group on and everything, and they're getting all of the intel from that focus group. And it's looking good. It's a little choppy, but for the most part, it looks good as far as the focus group is concerned regarding the current status of the case, right? So next we see DA Lucy in a coffee shop going over her case, and she sees her boss, and he sits down and suggests that we win this because we don't need another loss in the office. And she's like, oh, shoot. She got to turn on the magic. So then a trial starts, and they're going back and forth with witnesses, and Jax is interviewing, interrogating folks, and woo, child, DA Lucy talking to folks, Corey, all of them are taking a shot at different people, officers and, witnesses for this and witnesses for that. And Jax gives a press some answers because Corey was not around. And then Corey was like, listen, I thought I told you I was the first chair. She was like, well, you weren't around and they needed some questions answered. So I gave it to him. Don't worry about it. I know who you are. So, he's looking like, I know she ain't just trying to take over. So you know how men can be. Next, we see Lewis and pretty much presenting school with strong arts and so what am I saying? Next, we see Lewis talking to Spencer about the arts program and the sports program at this new school that he found, since Spencer is real interested in theater. So there's a school that has a whole, kind of Snooty Fox program. And they pretty much, at the end of the year, they have this big showcase, and sometimes, real life entertainment managers and whatnot comes and scouts, and just might be an opportunity. So Spencer was real grateful, and Lewis again apologized, and Spencer accepted. Because, last episode, he kind of ragged on Spencer for wanting to be a theater arts major, versus playing basketball, talking about wearing tights and wigs and carrying on. And that's why, so anyway. So yeah, so who is this? Mama Lou. Mama Lou got a man, y'all. Mama Lou got a man. So Jax finds out about Mama Lou's boyfriend through Naima as she's putting Naima to bed, and they're just kind of talking over things. Naima doesn't like him because he's not Grandpa Paul. But, Jax comforts her and lets her know, well, it's okay. Grandpa Paul's in a better place. Jax really don't think so. But, we just have to accept, move on from the past and everything gonna be all right with Lou, yada, yada, yeah. So, she's just comforting her daughter, letting her know. Well, first of all, she asked her, why don't you like him? First, you need to know why your kids don't like a grown person, because we all need to know. But it was only because he's not her grandpa that she grew up with. So that's understandable. Next, we see Corey takes the firm partners to a cigar bar after they invite him out. He's like, no, I got stuff to do. And they said, no, that's okay. Yeah, I'll take you somewhere I like. So they went to a cigar bar, and then they're asking him how can they really make things better. And then they kind of go off to a commercial. But then you can kind of guess what that conversation was about, considering how Corey has been voicing his opinion to Jax about she needs to step back. So we all know what's coming. Next, we see Jax out with Dan, and he's digging deeper into Evan. They're going to find out some stuff about this man child. Now we see Jax and Lewis at couples therapy going good. Then Jax's complaint was that Lewis found this school and didn't tell her about it before presenting it to Spencer. And so it wasn't an issue. She's not mad. She just wants to be included in things like that because, if she doesn't like it, then she'll be the bad guy. And she no longer wants to look like that with the kids because Lewis always looks like the good guy, considering Tony's busy schedule and how Lewis is more, with the kids because of that. So she just wants more, inclusion when he's pretty much changing things up with the kids. So that was a good thing. And then Lewis actually meets with Tony and lets her know, well, actually talks with her on the phone and lets her know that he wants the paternity test because, if it's his, he wants to be a daddy. But she was like, don't worry about it because it's not yours. He was like, how do you know? She said, she said, no, I'm not sure, but no matter what, I'm going to raise this kid. And he doesn't like that. He wants to be involved. So here we go. Sometimes Lewis can be kind of, too good for his own good. I mean, I understand he doesn't want a kid out there that has his name and bloodline. Woo, child. But yeah, you got in this mess, child. You got into this mess. So next we got Shelly, Jackson, Autumn having drinks. And they're talking about Shannelle and all the antics she's doing. Shelly doesn't appreciate it and she leaves. And I can understand that. That's her cousin. It's bad enough, but she's more upset about losing the house because she got to go home to a husband that don't like her at this point for putting their house up without telling her. Again, if it was his house too, wouldn't he have to sign? I'm just listen, I'm not into real estate, nor am I into no bail bond. I don't know nothing about it, all that. I know the basics. You got to put up something and then you got to pay on it. That's all I know. But as far as, making deals with your house, whoever's on the deed would make that deal. So apparently he must not be on the deed, but so she bought that house. Anyway, all I know is he was supposed to know and she didn't tell him. So now either they can he has to come up with the money to pay or they have to sell a house. And either way, he ain't with that. Like he said in the beginning, 2 episodes ago. We ain't putting this house up. But child. So yeah, Shelly gone and they just looking at her empty seat. So next We see JT Mama Mavis child lying on the stand about not knowing about the DV between Shannelle and JT. And Shannelle got disruptive and mad and upset and everything. So they have to take a little break. Then they come back, and then Corey cross-examines her and brings up the fact of how she was abusive to JT and how she burned his leg with a cigarette, and that didn't look too well. Child. So then we see Jax visits Evan at his place. She's commenting on how much of a fortress this is for a business manager. She's coming a little coy, like, yeah, I know something that you don't know I know. And she's trying to, figure out the dealings between him and Adrian. And she finds out that he's no longer a client, but he's a business associate, which is very interesting, considering what she knows about Adrian's finances that he don't know she knows. So pretty much he ends that conversation real early and lets her know she can find herself out and he got to go. Then we find out that he goes to visit Shannelle. And then he's like, how much do you know about Adrian? And she was looking like, what? And then it kind of go off to a commercial. So he's giving Shannelle all the info that he told Adrian about that he wouldn't do, like pretty much double crossing Adrian, just how Adrian double crossed him. And Adrian didn't like the fact that Jax came to his office. So he's thinking that Adrian's working with Jax in some type of way. But anyway, Evan's the bad guy. So no matter what, Evan gonna do what Evan gonna do. And we see that Adrian owes him money plus more. That $30 million definitely was the doings of Adrian and not Shannelle, child. And Dan tells JT about Evan's role and JT's money and illegal sports gambling. So that's pretty much it. Some illegal sports gambling debts Adrian got to the tune of $30 million, or maybe inclusive of some type of fees from Evan or some store. All I know is the amount is $30 million that he owes. That Adrian owes $30 million. Child, how much money was JT worth? My goodness. Anyway, so Evan goes to Evan about him going to Shannelle, and he yelling and screaming and carrying on, letting him know, we'll whoop your ass. And then, Adrian pretty much sold $30 million. Evan wants Jax out of his business, and he's having Adrian deal with Jax. And Adrian's like, man, you got your goons do that. He said, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But apparently, Adrian has been forced to take care of Jax. Child, what that mean? Next, we see, so apparently after leaving Evan's office, there's another thing that Jax has to straighten out. So she went to find Corey at the cigar bar, and that's where she confronted him about having to talk with the partners. Pretty much the partners came and wanted to talk with Jax about being more accommodating to Corey and allowing him to be first chair and not to interrupt anything that he's doing. So she handled it very well. She's like, okay, no worries. So that's why she went to go find Corey to let him know, stop telling on me. And plus, this part I like. So pretty much they were like, listen, bottom line is we can't let these white folks get in between us. And remember, so they both said at the same time, we are rooting for everybody Black. That's that line that Lisa Ray says every time she's on the red carpet for somewhere. Well, I'm rooting for everybody Black. So pretty much that's like a thing now that Black people say to each other for the most part when they're discussing issues and things that involve other folks. I just like that. How they both came at the same time and said, because we're rooting for everybody Black. I know that's right. Anyway, Lewis and Jax presents Spencer with the admissions to the new school. He's all excited and everything. And then that night, it's some real love making going on, child. They got right back in the saddle. Woo, child. I had to drink some water. Like, am I old enough to watch this? You remember when you were little, how you put your hand on your eye, but you separate your fingers? I was like, oh, am I supposed to be watching? So I turned my head, child, because it was a little steamy. Folks all sweating and carrying on and greasy. Anyway, so after sex, he texts Tony about the DNA test. I'm like, man, what time is it? And you texting folks. So, like I said, they end up talking, and he's letting her know that he wants to be a daddy, and he really wants that DNA test. So, I guess next episode we're gonna find out about the DNA test, child. And then the last part, Adrian calls Jax to come over. Like we said, Evan wants Adrian to take care of Jax. Jax is telling Dan at the office, well, that was Adrian, and he wants me to come over, meet him over at JT and Shelly's house. Not Shelly's house, JT and Shannelle's house. And Dan was like, you want me to come with you? She's like, no, it's cool. It's just Adrian. He was like, yeah, but if you think he's the one who took JT off the set, I should come with you. She's like, yeah, you're right. So how about this? Come with me, and if I'm not out in 6 minutes, call Popo. But I'll text you. Now, if I don't text you in 6 minutes, call Popo. Child, you're going to be dead, man. Anyway, so Jax goes to the house, looking for Adrian. It's all dark. Ain't no lights on except for the outside and everything. And she's like, where you at? He's like, I'm over here. And then he's like, hello, Jack. She was like, what's up, Adrian? What's going on? He said, have a seat. She's like, no, I'm staying. What's going on? Looking at him with her phone in her hand, pretty much her finger on the dial. And and he got a GUM in his back pocket. Like, what is that all about? Child, I know he ain't about to take Jax off the set because we got about 5 more episodes, child. What? Anyway, that was the end, y'all. That was the end. It's getting good. It's getting good. It's getting good. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And don't forget, we're going to come back with episode 6, and we just keep this thing rolling. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll check you later. Happy Vlogtober. RAERAES all day.